Live. Hey, we
Hey,
are live, and I'm looking at Scott. I just told him that he's got the principles of appeal and animation of trying as often as you can to stick with the appeal of having a foreground, middle ground, and a background. Yeah,
yep,
it's looking good. I would call your the roadway the middle ground.
yeah. Oh, the roadway. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
yeah.
you got your
Well, this is another
trail
panel.
trail us in our face. That's our foreground.
That's the four. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and so
Whatever comes forward.
so so obviously I've been drawing this story, and what's sad is I seem like I only work on it when we're live. I work on a little bit over the weekend, but the and so I wanted a panel of our hero heading into New York City. He lands at the airport and he heads to New York City. So I was going to do something over a bridge, but I couldn't come up with a good. And so I finally found a good bridge scene. Bro,
Hmm.
I figured out what I want, and then I Googled Brooklyn Bridge headed in Manhattan. And I came up with this picture.
Oh
Now
yeah.
I've deviated from it, obviously, because it's not at the right angle for what I need. But I'm using it for details. I mean, it's good reference,
Sure.
and I'm cheating a little bit. Um, and one thing I'm gonna do is because this story is kind of a weird. It may be an alternate universe. It may be in the past. I'm gonna add because you would see them. You would see the twin towers in this picture. You'd see they'd be right
Hmm.
about here. And so I'm going to add them. I've already kind of drawn them. I'm going to add them real subtly, and they're in. See if I can get that page. They're in page one when he flies in New York City.
Hmm. Yeah, there they
So
are. Yeah.
so for consistency, I'm going to show them there. And again, it's just a subtle thing. I don't know. So here's what I want to do. This is my I have this goal. I'm going on vacation in a couple of weeks, and I'm gonna be out of town for like 9 days. And so what I want to do is I want to get this done before I leave, and I think I will. I mean, this is page four. I mean, done to page four. So this is four. I've got a little bit on three. I need to go back and do, but it's basically done. Other than just seat time. Uh,
Hmm.
but I want to get it done, and then I'm gonna send it to some people before I leave. And I may what's crazy. Oh, I don't want to say who I'm gonna send it to, but I may actually mail it. Not the originals, of course, but I may mail a copy to somebody.
Sure.
Um,
Yeah. Short
you know,
around.
yeah. There's a publisher that I'm friends with on Facebook. And I think I could mail, and I think if I tell them, hey, I'd like to mail it to you, and I may even mail them like 11 by 17 copies, which they tell you, oh, you don't have to do that. But I may just do it just for the sake of, being like, boom, there it is.
Hmm.
Um, anyway, but, so I was telling Ellis before we started that I've worked on, if you followed this, if you've watched this for very long, I did a book or four books called Heaven's Rejects, and they haven't been, I've got a publisher. They haven't been put out. They've been on hold. I mean, basically, they've been done since about maybe like December, maybe
Hmm.
January, something like that. I forget when I finished the last one. They're being colored. They're getting somebody else is doing the covers. There's stuff going on. They can't be announced um, because the writer has,
Yeah, he's got problems.
well, I think
Personal issues.
got personal issues. He's getting a divorce. I mean, I think I can say this. He's getting a divorce, and his wife has claim on him if they come out before August, before the end of August.
Hmm.
But the publisher won't put them out until next year anyway. So there's no reason to announce them before then. It does us no good. And so
Yeah.
reached out to him and said, "Hey, I'd like to be working on something instead of being idle. I mean, I like goofing off as much as the next guy, but you know, and so I feel like,
Not
I
if
mean,
I'm the next. Not if I'm the next guy. No, I'm
yeah.
just. Never mind.
So
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm
Continue on.
I'm yeah. So I'm kind of, and so I was telling Ellis. So I had a small publisher who's offered to work with me, or one has expressed interest in working with me, but I have some reservations because, and I won't go into all of them. I was telling Ellis about some of them before the hand, but one of them is, and probably the most major one, honestly, is I feel like they like something in my art that isn't there, which sounds
Yeah.
crazy, but it's like
Well,
I
no,
don't.
I think it's yeah, that's an artist thing. A lot of people, you think you're going to praise an actor with some sort of praise that he's going to like, and he just like he almost winces or something.
Yeah,
We don't get it in terms of like, all right, or a guy ought to get it because, like you say, you've got this effect that you have of people thinking that you look like whoever,
yeah. Well,
and that you'd be think that was high praise or something.
well, and they mean well. I'm not being. Uh, uh, well,
Nat
so
Nasser says hi. He's here,
oh,
or he's dropping in for a split second, before he moves on with his busy life. Nasser, how's the writing treating you lately? I've noticed some updates on your horror comics that somehow still get to me when I check Twitter. How's that going? Go ahead, Scott, because he'll
oh yeah. I think
if he's even still there, he will take a while to type it up.
yeah. Well, and the thing is like the one of the people that approached me, or the person that approached me, very, very, I love this particular project you did, and literally it was something I did as kind of a lark, and it's like you should
Mm-hmm.
draw everything like that, and it's like, well, I don't really want to,
Oh, I've done the same thing to you, haven't I? I mean, I've told you you need to have the style that you're most comfortable with be something that of how you try to pitch yourself. And I think your live sketching, I think, could go over
uh,
as a style, and you don't want that for yourself.
well, I think it's too loose.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm saying you could.
Well, yeah,
You,
okay, so there are artists out there who draw in a very loose style, and I sketch loose.
oh
Um,
wow! Look at this big news from Nasser. He's got an editor. There you go, Nasser. That's what you do. Find you somebody that lays it on you.
I followed your advice you gave me to fix the script for people doing. Oh, that is funny because that's very Ellis advice. You gave me that advice when I was. No,
Well, I mean, I'm reading these stupid. Here you go, Nasser. Here's a book recommendation. Um Chuck Palahniuk. I know that's how it's pronounced because someone made a point of spelling it phonetically. Oh, that's gruesome. That's just like Palahniuk's work. He's got worn out pencil stubs for fingers. Ooh, it is pretty gruesome.
the yeah, writer of Fight Club.
Yeah, writer of Fight Club. Moments in my writing life after which everything was different. And this, I'm only page 23, but I can already tell I'm not just going to have this as a library book. I'm going to be buying it.
Oh yeah.
And this one, Nasser, Psychology for Screenwriters, Building Conflict in Your Scripts. This is a great little reference for for a person that if they're doing stuff flat and with purposeless characters, like I criticized you for, this could be a big book to injecting something in it. So yeah, that was my copy. I actually have already sent the psychology book back because my copy arrived. So yeah, that's a good book.
Yeah, you told me when I first started drawing this, you caused me great consternation, but you pointed out you should have action on every page.
Yeah, I mean, if people's eyes are glazing over, there's not, and I call it a fight. You can call it conflict. That's fine, but
Conflict
it's
work.
yeah, conflict works. But I think if a guy simplify, I know that a fight sounds a little too primal, maybe for just ordinary storytelling sake. But if you go ahead and escalate something to fight status and think of it as a fight, it becomes that artificial thing that fiction is. It's saying, I don't want this to just be walking in and bumping shoulders because we're in the same space. I want it to be like, I can't stand this guy, but here we are. You want it to have some sort of extra oomph to it, and that happens when you start to think of it as fights.
Yeah. Well, I mean, conflict is part of human nature.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
No matter how pious or civilized we want to act.
Oh yeah, and it's something that my life has been damaged by not welcoming enough of it and dealing with enough of it because
I know people like that.
Yeah, it's important to say, okay, I know I'm going to have a conflict on a regular basis. They're going to be coming up, and to avoid them is to avoid life.
Yep. Well, that's part of my job. I told you I broke up a fight at work the other day. A few weeks
really?
ago.
And an actual physical fight?
Fight, but it was a full-on argument.
Mm-hmm.
But
those can obviously going to be escalating to where you don't want them to go. You don't want people hurting their feelings so bad. You fat idiot, and that sort of stuff going out. You don't want stuff like that because that's all the person in the conflict will remember. It's like, hey, he doesn't like me. Every time he sees me, he's thinking, fat idiot.
Well, these are departments that I'm not over these people, but I've been told I want you to help them work together. So, it's like I'm not any of their bosses. They have bosses. I've become kind of this guy that people tell to do stuff, and so I do it. For whatever reason. I mean, I know why I do it, but it's funny you say that though, because at work I was talking to somebody today, and they were talking about somebody that wanted a promotion, kind of promotion.
But they're a fat idiot. Nobody likes them. No, I'm kidding. Go ahead.
But the person that was like, I don't know what to do, and I'm like, no one's going to tell you what to do.
Yeah,
they want you to figure it out. I mean, it sounds horrible, but and so part of that, like at my job, in my job, is literally like situations where it's like, hey, what's going on? Let me fix this for you. I mean, it's like I have to inject in this uncomfortable situations where literally any of these people would look at me and go, why are you involved in this? But nobody ever does, because you just have a little chutzpah and go in and, hey, let's get this thing fixed. When people see that you're fixing stuff, they just naturally like, okay, let him do his thing.
Well, yeah, and I'm sure that nobody's sitting around saying, you're just working by the hour. So if it takes 60 hours, it doesn't matter. You guys have probably got timelines that have to pay attention to them.
Oh yeah.
Somebody's expecting lots of stuff from you. So.
Oh yeah, I work at a company that makes awards. Generally, they have a presentation date. A banquet or a match or a competition or whatever. Some sort of event that they're going to give this thing out, and we've got to get it paid by then. And and
it's got to happen.
But if you can, I would say if you can go through life and have a positive attitude and just say, I am willing to embrace uncomfortable. I think that's the difference between you and me. I have no problem with uncomfortable situations. Like, okay, I'll talk to whoever. I'll do whatever I need to do because I know that's what you have to do to get things done.
Mm-hmm.
And like when I was a kid, like if we were at a restaurant and I wanted something, I remember. I don't remember an age where this wasn't the case. Where if I wanted something, my parents made me ask for it. And I learned early on to ask for things you want. And a lot of people are uncomfortable with.
Well, I remember you were kind of like stuck in the mud for a long time, wondering when your salary would get elevated a little bit, and that probably was delayed a little bit by you being somewhat not timid, but at least maybe just a little too reluctant to put anybody on the hot spot for it.
Oh no! I asked.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I know you did ultimately, but I think it went on for a while. Or my perception of it was it went on for a while.
Well, but that was the thing is no one came in and said because I was next in line kind of for a position. And initially I thought, well, when this person leaves, I'll get their position. Well, that didn't happen. And so,
some of these assumptions, will disappoint a guy pretty badly. Yeah. So
I just did the job is what happened. I know, and I didn't get any more money until I'd done it for a while. And then finally,
you probably played it right. Yeah, see, I was just aware that you were always talking about it, and it's like, well, you need to figure out an angle on getting them on the spot. Because I mean, like I've said before, you've worked at some place longer than I have ever worked anywhere, and probably most of the people in the audience that will ever listen to this audience. It's like you worked there a long time. Hey, I've titled this "Rest in Peace, Cartoon Color." Talk about your companies that your worry about your company would be like, or your personal worries within the company would be like, is my job worth as much if 3D becomes this or that to other companies? Competition arises real easily, maybe because some sort of new 3D process comes out or something like that. But technology is out there threatening all of us. And
yes,
cartoon color, of course, no one colors with cell vinyl anymore, and they finally went belly up. But it's interesting. The reason I looked this up and know this now is because I just got my cell vinyls out. I'll show them to anybody that might eventually show up here. And I have a nice little gamut of it. Looks like, let's say one's black, one's white. That means I have a gamut of grays, of six grays in between the black and the white. That's a pretty good gamut. Now these things sitting just like this have been sitting in these tubes for years without me using them. I mean, I'm talking like these things may be 20 years old. I shook them up and they worked. And I'm not even talking unplugging the necks on the little spouts. These babies were made to sit around on shelves and sit there and work when a cartoonist that was working needed a color and had a code for the color they needed. And it's really kind of sad that the company no longer exists.
When did they go out of business?
Sometime between, I don't know exactly, but 2017 to 2019. So.
Okay, so it wasn't recently.
Well, 2017 to 2019 is pretty recently. I mean, 4 years ago, as far as that bracket goes. But
but not COVID related.
No, not this week.
Okay.
The other thing, the company was in Culver City, and I would walk by the plant where they were making this stuff, and it's just like me thinking, small world. There it is. Here I'm living right next to it. And the other thing I was living right next to in Culver City, there's a lot of stuff you're living right next to in Culver City, but was Walter Foster Books. That's where they
really?
were, yeah, that's in Culver City. I guess they're still a going concern. I don't know.
Yeah, I think they still make those big books. They do. I see them at the store. I would, every time Michelle and I drive down Classen, I always tell her where the old I'm thinking D Graphic Supply used to be.
Oh yeah,
if you ever went there. And, of course, they've been gone in the 90s.
Yeah, I tell you, some of these companies, you just got a warm fuzzy even going to them. It was fun, but now they're gone.
Well, Michelle and I, we're not going to New York this year. And, every time I've gone to New York, last couple times, another art supply store has gone out of business. And I love going up there because we don't have anything around here. Our last one went out of business this year, but we didn't, even then we only had one or two.
Yeah. Well, all the brick and mortars, it's over. Yeah.
Well, in New York, they've been put out of business by Dick Blick, not the catalog, but there's Dick Blicks on every corner up there.
Oh, really?
They'll put a Dick across the street from someplace, and they got bigger selection. But what sucks is the art supplies have become so homogenized, and it drives me crazy because I love finding unusual stuff, and you just, I don't know.
Yeah, it was when Horton Plaza first opened up in San Diego. They had I was around when it just got open, and they had some oddball like shops that were there where they opened up like oddities that were just imported fresh from like Japan. That was a big deal, back in the day, is to like say, let's import all this Japanese stuff. And they had some really cool novelty stuff. And they just, like you say, they just don't bother to do that anymore, of saying, hey, this novelty will pack them in, They don't do that. It's franchise thinking anymore.
Oh, big time. And it's sad because I feel like the people that suffer, and the people that suffer are the consumers. And with art supplies, what makes it even worse is it's not that you can't, it's the manufacturers are all being bought up by other companies. And so there's fewer people making this, which, I mean, stands to reason if they're not selling it. So like just different stuff you look for. And like here we have a Hobby Lobby, and used to you go in there and get, like I was in Hobby Lobby, the only sketchbooks they carried were their own brand. I was like, I'm never buying sketchbooks at Hobby Lobby again, because they get them made over in China, and they're,
That's where they want the markup going. Yep.
Yeah, it's just a bummer because I don't know the internet is not delivered on its promises of utopia.
No. Some sort of new atrocity happens daily. It feels like, in terms of like, man, that shouldn't be the way things are. But it's all happening all around crashing around our ears.
Yeah.
The guy that cracks me up, you talk about people that. Go ahead, Natasha International says, I'm doing something that looks like Vector Man, and you're right. It looks entirely too much like Vector Man, but what can I say?
Oh.
It's you are right, though. It's got a kind of a hulking kind of thing.
It's not that I buy that much art supply, but that was when I would travel. That was one of the things I always enjoyed doing, was checking out the art supplies.
Yeah.
And anymore, it's like, well, you can go to Dick Blick, or you can go to Hobby Lobby.
Mm-hmm. The guy that's got me thinking about, like, man, it would have been nice to have been that. Well, I've met several people like this. There's one artist named Josh Bean that I worked with at one video game company. He became I think he does landscape painting for a living now. So he was kind of like an expat of Colorado. He knew he was going to be moving back to Colorado and was just in California to drink it in for a bit and try his hand at, some place that wanted to use his art talents. And he never really landed exactly where he wanted to, but he got to use his art talents here and there, and also got exposed at the same time I did with a whole lot of painting that was coming up at the California Art Institute, teaching the Riley method. So he learned all that stuff same time I was. And he's a cool guy, but he also was a cool guy to the extent that he never wasted a weekend getting out in his dependable old Toyota to check out every park he could get to within reason of California. He was constantly taking in and absorbing and enjoying California in a way that, I didn't scratch the surface of how much California he took in. And that's the way to live, man. I mean, if you're in a spot, you've got something like a Toyota that's not going to break down on you, get out, do some stuff, burn some gas.
Yeah. It's amazing. We'll work and talk to New Yorkers and be like, well, we're going here. And they'll be like, oh, I never go there.
There's people that never leave Montana. They don't leave the island, They're kind of.
Don't even go to there are more museums in New York than about anywhere else. And they never go to the museums,
Yeah. Yeah, that is pretty amazing. It's like,
but I mean, I think that's every city. There's people that live there that never do.
Yeah. Oh, and what made me think of Josh Bean was that I'm now watching this channel on a regular basis of this guy. He's about 30 years old, and he's quite the entrepreneur. And he's an expat in Thailand, where all his videos are about what things cost in Thailand and the places he's going to be showing you today. And it is just, he just does a great job on these travel logs and the information he throws out on Thailand. Man, it makes you want to say, hey, I'm headed for Thailand. It's just to at least check it out because it is obviously a place you need to see before you die. You know,
The,
he was. Go ahead.
well, my work, we do a lot of work with several factories in China. And before COVID, they kept telling me, hey, next time we send a group over, you're going to go with the group. So, not Thailand, but, going to. It's cool to go to Asia,
Yeah, and some of these big cities in Singapore and stuff. Let's see what Natasha International is asking us. You guys ever heard of a comic series called Shaolin Cowboy? I was thinking of getting to trade to it, but the art looks really good. Yeah, I'll look some of it up so I can respond to it.
Have you read it, Ellis?
I don't think I have. Shaolin Cowboy. Let me look.
You know who it is?
I could buy some of it on Comixology, I imagine. Let's have a look. Oh, you know what? I have seen this. Yeah, and I may have some of it on Comixology. Come think of it. Yeah, I think this came up at some point.
Yeah, I like Darrow.
It's Jeff Darrow.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Jeff Darrow is pretty good. I have a book. Hang on, let me grab this book. I have a book. If you like that, of course, he's most famous for Hardboiled.
Yeah.
And so I have a book. I have two books here. Let me see if I can get them off the shelf here.
I'll share my screen when I when I navigate my way back to someplace where I can't share a screen. Let's see, and then I have to figure it out all over again in terms of like how to do that. Oh yeah, hard boiled, big damn hard boiled. How about that?
So this is I think this is drawn size. Now it's not penciled, but it's inked, and there's no lettering in it.
Look at that. Yeah.
If you like
Darrow's
work.
I saw that at one of the cons he had those big sheets of beautiful, vellum that's like almost like working on glass with a tooth to it. He's it's and I used to work on vellum that was like that. And it's fun to work on just perfect vellum paper. I wonder if he's having a hard time keeping keeping his stocks up in that. It seems like that's probably going to disappear. Really nice vellum tracing paper.
Did I give you a big pad of vellum?
You gave me a type of vellum, but it's not the type that I'm talking about. It's cool. The vellum is cool that you gave me.
Oh. I did. Yeah, I gave you Bindfang. I think it's Bindfang I gave you because we had boxes and boxes of it at work. I still have a box of probably a dozen sitting on my desk, and I think it's like 14 by 17.
Yeah,
I like.
Yeah, it's a good size. Yeah,
I like Darrow's work quite a bit.
I'm going to give you a solo layout here. There we go. Look at that.
But to me, it gets a
little lost in the weeds, camouflagey and all that. But some people love picking out that sort of stuff. That's the way they like their art. Really, they like to go for. I got
the king size, big guy in Rusty the Boy Robot, same size. Put up by Dark Horse.
And black and white again. I dig this that you've got so many things that are nice, black and white. That's fun. I buy stuff, but it shows you everything that about line and the vocabulary of line is there. You know,
Yeah.
the heavier outline for the things that are closer.
Yep.
He's got
Right, like
line
right
weight.
there.
He's got line weight figured out in the big time. Yeah.
Well, I think his stuff will get real lost if he didn't. Of course, it's colored in the books,
Mm-hmm.
so that helps it. But yeah, that's what I like about his work. I like his line quality.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone focuses on the little noodly stuff he does. That's okay, but to me, what really makes his stuff pop is that line quality that he puts in it. You know, like you say, the thick and the thin and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's a guy that he's got lost line in there too. Even as as much as he gets, like I say, in the weeds on detail, he still understands you've got to lose a line every now and then.
Yeah, absolutely.
Exit.
So what did you do today, Ellis?
Oh, I did a painting. I kind of showed this a little bit.
Really?
I've been watching Mike Hoffman videos, which are a trip in themselves, because he. I watched an 18-minute video thinking to myself, now when is he going to switch to oil paint? Because he was using these acrylics, and he never did. And I realized, well, I just expected him to, because he mumbled that he might at the beginning of the video, but the video itself was titled, he was going to be working in watercolor. So, but that got me going, because his mention that he might switch to oil made me realize, well, I'm going to try to do a lay-in with acrylic. Now, I may be in for a big disappointment here, because I got a color version of this, and and if you go to Tumblr, you can kind of see a process on it for my stuff, and there are links below for my Tumblr. But I put this wash down on this Batman today on a gray gesso board, and I'm going to see if oil washes basically will go over this and tint it without picking it up. Now I'm just going to start on a very small spot. I'll do it down here on some of this stuff that I need to redo anyway, and we'll see if that picks it up. And if it does, I'll just drop what I'm doing and say, okay, let that dry, and then I'll go over the top of it with clear gesso, because I want to retain all of this and also have a really nice guy. This is probably one of the first paintings I've ever done where I did the Illustrator basic of having your lay-in so complete, your drawing so complete, that you saved yourself the labor of, as you go into the oils, of knowing where you're going with values and stuff. I've done the study necessary for this painting, and so it's weird. It's not really impatience either. It's just not being smart enough to realize that I have the knowledge in my head that I should never paint until I have a complete study, and then going ahead and trying to paint with doodles as what I'm painting into. It's just a way to, it's attention deficit disorder basically. But this painting may be kind of a breakthrough kind of thing. We'll see.
Excellent. That's awesome.
Yeah, and here I was
awesome.
ready to throw my paints away, and here I am working with paints I haven't used in 20 years, and I'm doing stuff.
Good. Good. Hey, speaking of doing stuff, did you ever email that person?
I have not. I've thought about it every day, but I haven't done it.
You got to strike while the iron's hot, Ellis.
Well, is the iron Is the iron any sort of notion that it might cool anytime soon? I don't know. I guess
Sure. I mean,
the company could go away. Yeah.
I talked to her and I said, I'll have my friend email you today, and as time
Okay.
goes on,
I didn't
less
know
and
you
less
told her I
likely
was
to.
going to email her today. I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, just from the standpoint of at the time, she said, "Oh yeah, have your friend. I can help him."
Yeah.
And as time goes on, those kind of things, people go, I got other things to do.
Yeah.
I just think people are less likely to
Oh no, you're absolutely
help.
right. You have to do things right when you walk through doors that are open. If they're
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
yeah, yeah,
Who knows? She may go on vacation next week, and then it's like, well, I got other things I need to do.
yeah. Get rid of that pen. Probably I'll just throw that one away. It's leaky. Does that mean it
Oh
doesn't
yeah,
even
leaky
doesn't look?
pitched.
I just let it set too long. Probably. It's one of those what do you call them pens? The
Movie.
what are they called? No
I don't
wonder it's too big. It's 7 millimeters. I need to get a smaller pinpoint. That will never make me happy. It's probably designed to be that leaky.
Maybe. Was it a Muji pen?
Yeah, Muji pen. Yeah, this one, 0.38. This one won't be
They're
leaky.
great. Muji pens are great. Are great. Were they gel pens?
Yeah, they tend to be really good.
I took it was a 0.7. I took a 0.7 on vacation one time and used it in my sketchbook, and it was a brand new pen, and I ended up it put so much ink down, and I used it so much that I ended up running it dry.
Yeah, yeah. No, I was looking at that one, the blobs I just put down. I was thinking about my poor scanner. I don't want to get dots and dashes all over my scanner, so I just quit on that one. Now I've got my G2 going now, and then that's true. The guy that was on Drawn and Quartered, that everybody just was marveled at his ability to. Well, they didn't marvel at him because they were always mocking him and everything, in a friendly way. Weldon.
Yeah.
Oh, what is his full name? It's not Michael Weldon, because that's the psychotronic guy. It's oh well. Weldon is his name, and everybody knows who I'm talking about, I'm sure. He is just an awesome artist, and his ability to have a whole idea just fully realized and everything in the time limits of that Drawn and Quartered just just amazed me. He's basically his own version of that June Kung, whatever.
I'm not gonna.
Oh yeah. Anyway, the guy that can just draw completely. Kim Jong.
Kim Jong-gi. Yeah.
Sorry. He's got that talent. Not in the same way, but the fact that he moves so quickly from just a quick lay down of what he has in mind to nicely finished line art is just really an amazing trick. And plus he likes the biggest challenge of doing very pleasing females in terms of how he draws. And it's like, whoa, that's you can't do anything harder than to draw really appealing female forms in that sort of time frame.
Oh yeah, I think working in ink will help you get like that.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
If someone.
Yeah,
He
he
only
would do some sort of little layout that you could barely see, and then before he started inking, but it looked like magic. It looked like he was just working with these G2 pens and just inking. The other thing I did, and I did all this before today, so none of it was done today, but I spent all day finishing off watching all the Bosches, the Bosch
oh really?
Amazon Prime. Yeah, so I've seen all of the seasons now, and
How many
it's
seasons are there?
there's only 7, and the last season has only got 8 versus the 10 of all the rest of them.
I've watched the first season. I haven't been able to make myself watch anymore.
Yeah, it's funny. I looked up what everybody's opinion was on how they would rank them because I had one season that really bugged me. I said, "Man, I love this show's writing," and then this season was just a speed bump. Who likes? Nobody's going to like this season. And so the first rating, yeah, the first rating page I looked up, it ranked that season as number 1. And I said, "Man, forget it. I'm out of touch completely with the rest of the world." And it just kind of bugged me that I didn't get my what do you call it? My cognitive dissonance just went off in a big buzzing
Well, they call that
mess.
where you live in your own bubble. You definitely live in your own bubble, Ellis.
Yeah.
But we knew that.
But I could
we
throw out critiques of why that season was a big speed bump, and there it is, right in the big middle, number 4. But and then 5 was just great, and 3, and 3 would go to number 1 as far as I'm concerned. It had probably so much good dialogue and stuff like that. It wasn't that the story was so incredibly different than the others, but every time somebody spoke and did something, it seemed like it could happen, and it seemed like it was, just so well realized as far as the characters went that it just blew me away in terms of quality. But four got very, very crowded with a whole lot of junky kind of stuff, and they also they were floating too many names and personalities. Oh, look at that! Nasser's been here. It says the entire time. Got to go, guys. We'll see you. Yeah, we got to go quick enough. I imagine we're getting it up. Well, 47 minutes. Okay.
Oh yeah, we got it. We have 10 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, anything else happened
But,
with you lately? The only other thing I did recently with entertainment last night, I watched a movie I haven't seen since it came out, which is Brewster McCloud. And you talk about your photographic memories for stuff you watched when you were a kid. Man, I remembered every bit of that movie. It's
oh
it's
really?
Yeah,
That's
it's a
funny.
fun little movie. Yeah.
Is that John Wayne movie?
No, Brewster McCloud is an old Robert Altman movie that's it's basically making fun of shabby police procedural stuff. It's
I'm thinking of I'm thinking of Rooster Cogburn.
yeah. Wim is just now here.
Excuse me. Sorry about that.
It's all right.
My brother and I took my nephews to see Black Widow.
Took him. Went to the theater, huh? Didn't rent it on Amazon or Disney Plus.
There was 3 or 2 of them. 2 of the 4 went. My nephews all had birthdays in June, and so we took them to see Black Widow because they didn't really have birthday parties this year for whatever reason.
Oh, so you saw it too? Okay.
Yeah. I have 4 nephews, but only 2 of them could go. And we had planned it all out. One of them got sick, one of them decided he wanted to go out of town instead, so we didn't wait on him. But it was okay. I was disappointed that because I thought there'd be more, and I'm probably going to talk about it on the podcast Friday, but I thought there'd be more Black Widow as a Russian agent, and there wasn't as much as I would have liked.
Mm-hmm.
There was her as a kid. And I thought, have you seen The Americans?
The Americans. Rusty
Yeah.
Deo is here too. Huh. Wow, we got a crowd here. You know what? I guess it's because Nasser left. Everybody else said, "Okay, now it's safe to show up." No, I'm kidding.
Kind of like Superman and Clark Kent.
Yeah, exactly.
Have you seen The Americans, Ellis?
The Americans. What is that? Who's in it? Hey, we got a real close up of your hair.
Oh,
there you go.
Sorry.
That's all right. We were down there in it. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, sorry about that.
Uh-huh.
At least it's clean.
Yeah, it's clean.
Hey, I have hair.
Yeah, you have hair. That is a big deal.
Yeah, my age, it's a good thing. The Americans, I think Carrie Russell is the girl's name, but it's about a family that's Russian. They're spies in America in the 80s, early 80s.
Oh yeah. They're, what do you call it? Where you're deep planted moles or whatever, where you've been groomed for ages. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if they'd be considered sleepers because they're doing stuff.
Sleepers, yeah, that's
spy
the word.
missions. I think to me a sleeper is more, and what do I know? But to me a sleeper is more somebody that doesn't do anything until all of a sudden they get the call.
Yeah,
and also
they're responsible for having something go to hell in a big way when they finally get the call. Yeah.
Right. These people do stuff the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, some of the stuff in Black Widow reminded me of the Americans. Because it was when she was a kid.
I may have to check that out.
Yeah, I don't know.
Intriguing.
I won't buy it. I will never watch it again. Let me put that.
Yeah. No, all this stuff. I can't imagine backtracking on any of the stuff I ever watched that is a series. Yeah. They were sent to America from Russia, so not really sleepers.
Right.
Yeah.
A sleeper would be here and just waiting, like the French. The French during World War II were in the resistance. Maybe I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe like German Americans who lived here, who got the call, went and bombed the ball bearing factory or whatever.
Yeah, in Bosch, I was, everybody I'm sure is a fan of this. I think her name is Lentz, that plays Maddie Bosch, because she's really, she's very attractive and long and willowy and all that. And I said, okay, I'm going to make a bet with myself. She's Hungarian, I'm sure of it. Then I looked her up. Yeah, she's Dutch German. so my eye for, ethnicities, I guess, is, if you want to call it, the difference between Hungarian and Dutch German, an ethnicity difference. But
yeah,
I was wrong.
A little rusty. No big deal.
I was wrong. Yeah.
Big deal. Happens.
Yep. She that's
Anyway,
sort of, you being a young actress, she's got a lot of stuff to do that could be called thankless. Anytime you kind of are expected to do the same thing over and over, like anything like, say, the dialogue "Love you, Dad" 500 times, that it might get kind of old, But and that's another thing. The effect of binge watching is different than how you're supposed to be taking in these serialized things. You're supposed to be all anxious for it. The new one as it comes out per week. Instead, when you crash through 5 of them in one day, you're
No.
you're seeing flaws that you wouldn't be seeing otherwise.
Right, yeah, because you forget some of the little details, and then all of
Yeah,
a sudden
yeah.
they break them. Yeah, but yeah, like I said, I've watched the first season of Bosch. I haven't started anymore. I don't know if I'm going to or not. Haven't decided.
You know, when you get into the magic
How
of
long did it take you to work?
Photoshop,
Well,
you ought to really, knock all that detail. I didn't
Yeah.
watch you do this, but I assume you did it right in front of our eyes. I liked the way you had some of your high rises before you knocked in all that detail in on them. You've added
All the
a whole bunch of detail on those high rises tonight, haven't you? Back
Yep.
there in the where the trusses.
Oh yeah.
You did
Oh,
you added half of all that detail. It's like, yeah, you shouldn't have done that much. You know, that's the background. But you know, in terms of like, after we just looked at all that Jeff Darrow and were commenting on it, it's like I guess you're probably doing it while we were looking at that Jeff Darrow.
Oh, 100% I was. It's okay.
I know it's okay. It's the way you did it, and like I say, once you get into Photoshop, you got decisions you could make that change it, but those will be decisions you make. Once you get it scanned, you can do anything you want to with it.
Yep. I was talking to somebody today online that was looking for a printer that they could use to print off pages they were going to ink, and people were talking about their process, and I have a 11x17 printer scanner. With that scanner like that, you can do about anything, with that and Photoshop.
Yeah.
Just because, like you say, you can scan.
Oh yeah. Once you're in Photoshop, you can do anything you want to with that background, and you can turn it all into 2 passes, and make one of them just have it be an outline, and the other pass have it be 10% as dark as it is there, and that'll push it back to where I think it ought to be.
Yeah, we'll see what I do.
Okay, yeah. But you're thinking about sending around for samples. I mean, it's like your thing is that when you start drawing, you've got a task that you feel like you need to buckle up and complete to an extent that you kind of have to start editing it. You need to. Well, I've told you that before. You need to stop more often on stuff. You need to say, okay, this is. This looks like so and so. This looks like John Byrne the way he would have done it. If you won't find a single cityscape that Byrne has done that looks like the one you've just got back in the background there. I'm done criticizing your cityscape. I am sorry. I don't. I get into Professor Goodson mode. I was just thinking about old Otis. Oh, is it Otis? Yeah, Otis. That I had the bogus class in, and I was thinking I need to do an apology set of videos on that where I answer one question that one kid asked me one time that I should have had answers for. He asked me about lines. He was asking me about things coming forward and going back in space and how to do that with line and the words for it. And I ought to do a series that there is nothing more important than what that kid was asking me. the convention of what comes forward and what goes back, what recedes.
Basically, thin line goes backwards, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, that, but also the way, like if someone is drawing the top of a water tower, the where this kind of convention of continuing the line, stopping it, and then, and again, my vocabulary fails me here. This would have to be heavily edited. I'd have to have a script basically to do a cogent bit of talking about this thing. See, I know how to draw that sort of thing, and it occurs, if you do anything where you call it drawing. Let's see if I can overemphasize this for the sake of talking about where this stops like that conveys to the eye that we have traveled around a volume and a cross contour line that when it terminates in the right way gives you that depth. Like I say, this is going to require a script if I ever get around to it. And I ought to do about, 3 10-minute segments on it, and use the guy that, what's his name? The guy, Marshall Vandruff. He's a great teacher. He's written the script a few times. That's on that Poco's channel, and they call it the Draftsman, where they get together and talk about art. And hey, Scott, you went black. I don't know if you meant to, but you did. And his favorite example of the kind of line art I'm talking about, but it has a lot to do with like a Jeff Darrow look too, is the old-timey syndicated strip artist that did Nemo in Slumberland. And what is his name? Oh, I could look it up. I will right now.
George Harriman. No.
Nemo in Slumberland. Winsor McKay. Good. I didn't even finish typing it. Winsor McKay. And Winsor McKay is just a master of line weight, minimal use of cross contours that still portray the volumes just so. Hey, how's it going, Gene Hole? Some big jerk. He showed up too. All right. Wow, we had quite a crowd touching base with us today, Scott.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, we do have quite a crowd.
And I'm sorry I devoted so much energy to running down your background. I'm sorry for that.
Okay.
So, okay.
Oh, I don't pay attention to you anyway.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's a good idea. No, it's all right, Gene. I mean, I appreciate that you made yourself known.
This goes back to what we talked about at the very first about that I may talk to someone about working with them on a comic, but I'm afraid what they see and what they profess to like in my work isn't really there.
Uh-huh.
You know what I'm saying? For whatever reason, and it's this thing that goes into, and I had a conversation with somebody online about style and this idea that everybody sees something a little bit different in their art.
Yeah.
And I think people like art for different reasons.
Well, I've got a million issues I should have put to bed 40 years ago in terms of like continuing to having to wrestle and struggle with stuff. And that's just, different people's paths, like I just told you about that painting I did. It's like, this is a first. Now there's no excuse for that being a first, but that's the way it is.
Well, that's I think that I disagree with you on one aspect. And I think art is one of those things that you work at. So artists kind of fall into a couple categories, but to me, like a good artist, or if you want to think of something, but to me, like an artist, I always think of an artist as somebody that really never figures it all out.
Oh, no,
they're
no.
always trying. And I know people. If I could name people that you and I both know that have really, if they have gotten to a point and they don't progress anymore. They don't push themselves. They kind of found their little, and that's cool. But I mean, it's cool for them. But to me, it's like the thing is like, you always want to kind of be pushing yourself. And I think if you get too complacent,
Mm-hmm.
you said, well, I should figure this out. Well, maybe not. I don't know. But to me, just part of art is that you're always like kind of pushing yourself.
Yeah, I mean, Natasha International wants to know what is that Hobby Lobby brand. She's asking Master's Touch.
Master's Touch, yes.
Okay.
And
so she knew what you were talking about.
I'm not saying they're good or bad. I don't know if I've ever bought one, but it just bugs me that that's all they carry in terms of sketchbooks.
That's it, huh?
Yeah, I mean, and that and the fact that you have ugly covers, that bugs me too. As somebody that carries a sketchbook with them everywhere, you hate like, well, okay, I'm gonna carry this ugly thing with me everywhere. It's like, can we make it a little better looking? That's not.
Here's where it is. Okay, see if I can figure out how to do this before we go.
Speaking of going, we're now 10 minutes over.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. That annoyed me. They dropped. Yeah. Those brands. Yeah. Canson and the rest. They switched to their house brand. Yeah. I mean, it's just it's all bottom line. They got more money they can make that way. That's it.
Yep.
Natasha likes that paper. Ink takes well to it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Well, there you go. They
well, maybe I'll buy one.
Yeah, try it. You never know. Sometimes that happens. Sometimes the right decision gets made. Well, Scott.
Well, even the wrong.
Yeah. Like clock is right twice a day.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you knew where I was going.
Yeah. Okay, you want to end the broadcast? Got anything you want to say?
No, thanks for joining us, and I hope everybody has a good week.
Yeah, we had 4 or 5 people show up and say hi. Cool.
Good deal.
Okay, bye everybody.
Never regret.
Never happen again. See ya.